Hello students, welcome to the channel. In this video, we'll solve the first writing passage of the March 2019 US SAT, peanut power. Polystyrene packing peanuts, thousands of them. That's what surrounded members of a Purdue University research team led by chemical engineering professor Vilas G. Pohl after they had finished unpacking new equipment for a laboratory facility. Packing peanuts are a standard part of shipments as their cushiony material ensures that items such as glassware are not damaged in transit. Okay, so I need to choose the right answer here. And as their cushiony material ensures that items are not damaged in transit, the way it's written looks good, so I'm going to keep A. As their cushiony material ensures that items that are shipped, so this that are shipped is unnecessary because my sentence already says in transit, so B is wrong. Which are commonly used because their cushiony material ensures that items. So this I'm already saying standard part, so the commonly used is redundant. As their cushiony material guarantees and ensures that items, so this is repetitive. So this also is not needed. The best answer is A. Because most curbside recycling services will not collect packing peanuts, less than 10% of them are recycled per year, and millions of tons end up in landfills where they take years to decay. Paul and his team were hesitant to discard the packing peanuts and contribute to this history of waste. Thus, more curbside recycling services should consider accepting packing peanuts. Which choice best sets up the information that follows? So we'll come back to this. Paul and his team determined that the peanuts were composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. They knew that reusable lithium-ion batteries, which are commonly used to power electronic devices, employ anodes made of carbon. A battery's anode attracts and stores ions, atoms bearing an electrical charge, when the battery is charging and releases the ions to generate electricity. By heating the peanuts and a catalyst to 1100 degrees Fahrenheit for several hours in the presence of argon, an inert gas commonly found in Earth's atmosphere, the carbon was isolated from the hydrogen and oxygen, which were released in the form of harmless water vapor. Okay, so I'm seeing here that they did not want to discard the packing peanuts, and so they devised a way to get rid of the peanuts without harming the environment. So the fact that more curbside recycling services should consider accepting packing peanuts is not a good introduction to the experiment, so it's not A. Hence, many environmental scientists have sought to address this waste management problem. So this again is not a good introduction because here we are focusing on Paul and his team. As a result, the abundance of packing peanuts in today's landfills is cause for alarm. So this too does not introduce Paul and his team's work. Instead, they resolve to use their chemical expertise to devise a solution. So this is the right answer because we know that they conducted an experiment to make sure that the packing peanuts did not end up in landfills. So D. Now here I'm saying by heating the peanuts and a catalyst to 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. So the part after the comma should refer to the team because they were the ones that heated the peanuts. So this is a modifier, right? And the part after the modifier should start with the thing the modifier refers to. So it can't be the carbon was isolated. It can't be the resulting chemical reaction or isolation. It has to be Paul and his team were able to isolate the carbon because it was they who heated the peanuts. Further heating resulted in extremely thin microsheets of carbon that could be made into battery anodes. Now here I'm describing the carbon as the one that could be made into battery anodes. So this is essential. And when you have an essential clause, then you can't have a comma before that. So this comma is wrong. This dash and this semicolon, all of these are incorrect. There is no punctuation required here. The vaporization process that separated the carbon from the hydrogen and oxygen left the surfaces of the carbon microsheets uneven and porous. Which choice best sets up the main topic of the paragraph? Okay, so we know that we were able to separate water vapor from the carbon, but then that left the carbon microsheets uneven and porous. According to Paul, openings in the surface made the anode's absorption of ions more efficient. On the other hand, the batteries charged faster. In addition, the anodes retained about 13% more of them than do conventional anodes, which meant that the batteries could provide more electricity before needing to be recharged than conventional batteries can. So further research will be necessary to determine all the potential applications of Paul's method. So this paragraph does not talk about further research. The team presented its findings at the American Chemical Society's national meeting. So again, that's not the topic of this paragraph. The anodes of conventional lithium-ion batteries are usually made from graphite. Again, not the point of this paragraph. The anodes produced by Paul and his team proved remarkably effective. So this is the right answer because we know that due to the uneven carbon microsheets, the anodes were able to absorb ions more efficiently. According to Paul, openings in the surface made the anode's absorption of ions more efficient. Therefore, the batteries charged faster, right? So I need a connector here that means therefore. So it can't be on the other hand because that is to say the other side of an argument. So it's not A. It can't be likewise because likewise is used for something similar. As a result is equivalent to therefore. So I like C. And by the same token is likewise again. So that also doesn't make sense here. In addition, the anodes retained about 13% more of them than do conventional anodes. So 13% more ions, right? I should use the noun ions because of them is not clear. It's ambiguous. So of them, of these, and definitely can't delete it because I should mention that 13% more ions were retained. The anodes retained about 13% more ions than do conventional anodes, which meant that the batteries could provide more electricity before needing to be recharged. So here, if you look at the part which meant, then that makes sense. I would like a comma here though, because this is a dependent clause. So a comma would kind of tell me that the dependent clause is starting. So I'll keep A for now, but I would prefer a comma before which. Okay, I definitely can't have a semicolon and meaning because then meaning, the part starting with meaning is not an independent sentence. And so a semicolon is wrong. Okay, if I say and this meant, then I need a comma here because I'm starting a new sentence with a conjunction. So a comma plus the conjunction. So this is not correct. And if I say this meant, then that's starting a new sentence and a comma can't be put here before a new sentence. So the best answer is A, even though I would have preferred a comma before which. The process as for recycling packing peanuts that Paul and his team developed is not all that complicated. The process for recycling, right? The process for recycling packing peanuts. So that's the best answer, not as for. So this is idiomatic. So not as for, not in order to recycle, because I'm talking about the process for recycling and not from recycling. It requires less time and energy than the humdrum method of making lithium-ion batteries. So I'm trying to say the standard method, right? The regular, usual method. So humdrum is not suitable in this context. Humdrum means monotonous, something that's not interesting, so that doesn't fit the context. Exemplary is something which sets an example, so that's not what we are saying here. And run-of-the-mill is usual, but this is rather informal, so I would prefer standard. Which uses carbon in the form of graphite. Shireen Obeir, a professor of chemistry at Western Michigan University, familiar with the team's research, noted that Pohl's method could be used to successfully recycle other polystyrene-based materials. This additional benefit attests to the future promise of the work being done in Pohl's lab. In fact, the process that Pohl and his team devised would take several days fewer than the process currently used to make anodes for lithium-ion batteries. Which choice provides the most effective conclusion for the passage? Okay, so the way it's written, I don't think this is a very good conclusion because, yes, that there is future potential for the work being done by Pohl, but this goes into very specific details of the time period required to make Pohl's anodes compared to regular anodes. So I don't like A. Thus, lithium-ion batteries are more effective than the lithium batteries that preceded them? No, this is a very general statement and does not relate directly to Pohl's research. Furthermore, other researchers are experimenting with burning packing peanuts in order to use their heat to generate energy, a process known as thermal recycling. So this introduces a new idea, and so I would not use this as a conclusion. For now, Pohl and his team hope that this process will be widely adopted and will turn a ubiquitous waste product into a useful household item. So this is a good answer because it connects back to the introduction of the passage, which was about the waste generated by packing peanuts and how Pohl's work can be used to convert it into something useful. So D. Okay, let's grade this. Question 1. A, D, B, C, D. A, D, B, C, D. C, C, A, B, C, D. C, C, A, B, C, D. Okay, great. So we got all correct. Take care. Bye-bye.